So imagine you're in medieval Serbia. It's 18th century. Imagine you're part of this, let's say, medical expedition sent from another country. You don't believe the local peasants, but then you come open the graves and you see what they're speaking. It's true. Now, if you don't, I can't say kill because these are corpses, but they're vampires and it happens to be true. If you don't do something about it, you know that these vampires will start rising up from their graves every night and kill more and more peasants. Now, my question to all three of you, like I said, this will be a very different episode from all of the episodes so far. So my question to all three of you is, what would you do? Would you take the stake and stab it in their hearts, and would you behead them? Would you burn their corpses to ashes to, set the local peasants free from the curse? Or would you, now, when you know the truth, would you still stay away from that because you're just a foreigner? You're just here to do your job and go home. It's not your job, it's not your business. So I'm just interested what all three of you would do if you were these medical examiners back in 18th century Serbia.
I got two ideas from what I heard and what I was reading. So I think probably the stake through the heart is efficient. And if I have a Christian background, that doesn't really desecrate the body another way. If we're valuing the human image and resurrection, I think there's another option most people don't talk about, but was contained in some of those stories and reports. One of the things is that these vampires were obsessive with counting. So a tactic was to put grains of rice in the caskets because if a vampire woke up, they would be forced to count them and they could only count one per year. So I might go down that road just because it's kind of fun.
Wasn't that I wasn't Jordan? You might know this. Wasn't that in the Jiangxi tradition too?
Yeah, the Jiangxi tradition is very similar to the Slavic vampire one. There's a few core differences. The Jiangxi can't move their bones, so they hop, hopping vampires. They're also more explicitly associated with sorcery than sorcery as the Chinese understood it. Than the vampire is with witchcraft. But yeah, I've seen similar stuff in some of the Chinese records, although as I believe I've mentioned, it's often hard to get good Chinese records in English.
So Jordan and Zach, what would you do if you were there? Would you stab them? Would you behead them? Would you burn them? What would you, or you would just leave back home? What would you do?
I mean, I definitely think that decapitation has a much broader application across vampiric folklore than stake through the heart does. So I would say we get chopping. We get chopping, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, last time I talked a little about sort of some good spirits, and now I think that like part of our biblical view is sort of guarding God's garden. I think ending evil spirits is very much in line with like what God tells us to do in the first 3 chapters of Genesis. I agree with Zechariah. Decapitation probably better, but whatever works.